Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at the fast-paced third-person action RPG KurtzPel, Bringer of Chaos. Both a full-on PvE boss battler and competitive PvP dueler with very anime-esque visuals. This video is sponsored by KOG Games, the developer of the game, but we're completely free to talk about the game however we like, which is always how we like the sponsors on the channel. But if you'd like to form your own opinion on the game, it's available on Steam completely free while it is in its early access state, which is really how early access should be done. You'll find a link to download the game in the description of this video or in the pinned comment. Be sure to use either of those to let them know we sent you. As you'll see right away, we've got some tight, flashy gameplay with that anime aesthetic. The core of the game allows you to battle with any combination of two karmas, which are basically classes you'll find in the game. You got long-range shooters, close-range fighters, big area of effect spellcasters, and a more support-based karma just came to the game too. Each karma is going to feel very different to each other. In the few that I've unlocked, they've played out completely different with their own combos as well. Plus, the ability to swap between two at any time, go from being a melee big bruiser to suddenly a spellcaster in one quick moment, adds a ton of variety in the gameplay and your utility as a player as well. Each karma gets their own wide selection of spells and ultimate abilities and even combos to learn and master, which should lead to deep and higher skill gameplay for a veteran player, before you even consider the fact that you're going to be swapping mid-combat between two classes at once. Currently, I've seen a pretty good variety of weapons themselves in game. We got two-handed greatswords, we got staffs for magic, dual-wielding one-handed swords, bows, fists, and hammers are all in-game so far, each coming with their own gameplay style. And with this wide combat system, you're able to face off against some big boss battles with MMO-like mechanics. Focus on a lot of quick action in these more intimate fights with you versus that monster. These PvE fights will often get you right into the meat of the bones of the game. After a short queue, you're just instantly dropped into combat after a cool little cinematic, and you'll be fighting monsters, only leaving after you win or lose. Obviously, you'll win, right? And then you can jump back in and go at it again right away, with ever increasingly strong enemies as you progress through the game. With that, you can play KurtzPel's PvE with basically no downtime if you never want to stop. And if you choose to play solo, there's literally no queue times. Plus, playing solo made each fight feel much more rewarding for me after you beat an enemy on your own with your own skill. Between each mission, we've got cinematics, a continuation of the story, NPC conversations, and there's some really cool literal anime cutscenes to enjoy too. They've done a good job of showcasing their story in a bunch of different styles, and it's pretty fun to watch. Each time you progress a mission or do some PvP, you'll also be progressing the karma class that you're playing under too. As I was playing more and more, I unlocked more abilities from my ranger karma, and as you expect, the more you play, the stronger you get. I found that each time I unlocked a new karma and weapon, testing the abilities and combos in the training grounds was more than worth it compared to just jumping into a mission blind and getting my ass handed to me. Like I mentioned before, every karma has its own weapon, and every weapon has its own different combos and playstyle. Each class allows you to run free special abilities alongside your ultimate with some extra passives once you've unlocked those too. It looks like we're going to have more options down the line, like being able to choose different ultimates for each karma itself, or abilities that you want to bring, since you're limited to 3, so you'll have to choose what setup you want to run for each karma that you have. I got my first 4th ability on the first class that I chose with the greatsword right after my first PvP win. The game did originally come out in April to Steam Early Access, and it's been seeing regular updates while they've been refining what this game can be. To do that over a pretty reasonable amount of time while it's totally free to play, I can only respect and appreciate that. As a player, it's really easy to just jump in and check out the game and see how it's progressing with its free updates and enjoy the fast-paced PvE or PvP in a short session or a long session. Speaking of PvP though, you've got a little bit of a selection of PvP modes to try here with that in-depth combat system, so it's going to be pretty intense. Let me tell you, it's really fast-paced. The classic deathmatch duel was the first one I tried out, dropping in straight away after a short queue time for a 2v2 battle with other players. With a time limit of 5 minutes, it's most knockouts to win. In my first deathmatch, we did in fact win, because I'm obviously the best, video game guy dude man ever known, as we all know. But like I said, it was super fast-paced, and funnily, both enemy players were sticking to just playing as rangers, so I got to absolutely beat them down with my giant greatsword, hitting them with lots of CCs, and I actually pulled off a bigger combo too, and got to hit someone with my ultimate, which did insane damage to go with this big flashy animation. Next was a deathmatch in a 3v3 setting, mostly playing out the same, with that time limit and trying to fight to knock out more players than the enemy do. Or in our case, first to 5 knockdowns like we managed. That's right, I won both my 2v2 and 3v3. I'm killing it, dude. I did hear the game has a capture the flag mode, but I couldn't find that in the matchmaking during my time playing it. Perhaps it's just something I unlock at a higher level, but I definitely know this was in game at one point. Then we have the Cardia Island Shore, in its own words, a survival game mode with 18 players on the map. And as the match will progress, a spear-shaped barrier will slowly decrease in size as the players are forced into combat in a steadily smaller area to play in. It's every man for himself, with the last survivor being the winner. Almost like a battle royale mode, but without any gear RNG to get equipped. Naturally, with a game mode like this, you're going to be looking for the right opportunity to jump into a group fight and interrupt something to vulture a kill, which can be really impactful, or choosing to take that 1v1 or straight up avoid it because you know someone's going to come vulture you. Since there's 18 players on one map, this mode is going to let you see some grand scale fights and a ton of spell animations all at once that you're just not going to see in the other modes with a lot less players. Now, you might be wondering, with all the different characters you've seen in the footage so far, yes, there is a character creator in this game and it's pretty great. You can create your ultimate waifu just like me with not one, but 3 different hair options, which is ideal. A bust slider, because obviously, and then some other more intimate customizations that you might find. Maybe you're like me and you want to make your purple alien man with green fantastic, whimsical hair. Phenomenal. I've seen quite a few different shapes and characters running around in the hub, which is kind of the core of the game. Going to a mission table and choosing to go on a PvE mission, progress the story, progress your character, do some boss battles, or jump into a PvP queue to test your skills out against other players. It also seems like the more you progress in the game, you will unlock more character customization with the costume system, which lets you change the visual of your weapons, free parts of your costume with the top piece, bottom piece, and apparently undergarments, with extra accessories of hair, face, belt, neck, hands, back, and shoes, and you can dye all of it as well. And since the game is free to play, I can imagine cosmetics like this being a way for them to have microtransactions. I did go ahead and check the shop, and we got boosts for in-game currency and a couple outfits to buy, but it does seem like you can get items in-game as well by just playing and using the in-game currency you earn, though I am not sure how that plays out in terms of game time, since I've only put in a few hours so far. KOG also asked us to make sure to mention their most recent update with Lime Serenity, adding the newest Karma, the Sacred Guardian, which is that hammer that we mentioned earlier. It's the first true support class for KurtzPel, heavy hitting with the hammer while complemented with skills that are focused around healing, shielding, or providing armor. Even able to heal allies by damaging enemies too. In my time playing, I would have really appreciated seeing someone dropping some heals or these buffs in PvP, because every bit of health really counts. So if you're looking for a heavy hitter or a way to help your allies more directly, the newest Karma should be your go-to choice. This update also did add a bunch of quality of life updates with items, UI changes, and other gameplay improvements too. Let's do a quick rundown for some pros and cons of KurtzPel. So for our pros, we have a visually stunning game that runs smooth and the aesthetic is something special. All the armor and weapons look great, but God, it's all about those spell animations. They just do it for me. It's done a great job. It leans into that aesthetic really well, using anime cinematics and in-game cinematics to do its storytelling, with some NPC conversations mixed in there for good variety while you do that story. The soundtrack's really good, getting me pumped while I'm in combat, and it has a solid character creator, which we can all appreciate in a free-to-play game. With a deep, high-skill cap combat system for long-term players to enjoy, its fast in-and-out style gameplay for short or long sessions is really good whether you're looking for PvE or PvP. And one thing that I did notice, the hub chat was really active. I saw some players giving each other advice, discussing karmas outside of their weeb conversations, which was really nice to see. Good job, weebs. And very importantly, we have our cons. When you do unlock a new karma, you should probably avoid using it straight away when you get the new weapon, because you're not actually able to have all 3 abilities for each karma at once. It can feel kind of underpowered and lacking when you first pick up a new karma because you haven't unlocked abilities. So probably playing through those missions and progressing that karma while using something you're a bit more equipped and practiced with is going to go a long way to improving a karma and actually trying it out. CC can be pretty brutal in the game as well, since the stamina never feels enough when you're in a big battle, which, yeah, they feel super dangerous to enter, which does make sense, but makes them less likely to happen. But even in the 3v3 mode, there was a painfully long moment where I was just stuck in CC being attacked by all 3 enemies at once, just as I was going for the final game-winning kill. Now, there is an iframe roll to get out of scenarios like that, but it never felt like enough to get out of that ridiculous onslaught of abilities. And then finally, we have some possible concerns with microtransactions. If in-game currency is gained too slowly compared to just buying it or using the in-game shop. Definitely more testing required on my part for that, but maybe you guys in the comments can let me know what it's like. Either way, that's our first look at KurtzPel, a game that really went super under the radar for me, so I'm really glad that I got the chance to check it out for the channel. Once again, be sure to use our links in the description or pinned comment when you do give the game a go so they know we sent you. And we really appreciate all the support you guys show us on these sponsored videos. They massively help the channel, so a huge thank you for watching. For now, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and I'll see you next time.